Welcome back, friends, to another energy reading for this week. I hesitate to say that it's for this week because what I've learned is sometimes I'll do a reading for this week, but I'm actually looking ahead at the energies that are in like a couple of weeks or even a month. So I just say that sparingly, mostly to kind of give you something to think about as you go through the next few weeks and and move about your days, your weeks, your hours, just something to think about. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. Cleanse the space really quickly. I don't know if that was good enough. I did cleanse the space a little bit earlier. I was doing some ritual work that I needed to do, and now I'm getting into the reading. So first off, I want to start off, of course, with the Wild Unknown archetype. Actually, let me move this out of the way. Just to get a feel of what archetype the energies are calling on for us. I am thankful for the spiritual connection that has come in today. I'm asking Spirit to come into this reading with a message for the collective. Tapping into the collective energy now, tapping into the parts of my chart that allow me to be in touch with the collective unconscious. I'm thankful for the spirit guides who also protect and accompany me in that journey and allow me to access these messages. And I will say, as I've gone on with these readings, it's just more and more evolving for me what my messages are, what they're for. So not a lot of them are not really going to be about. I try to read for the spiritual health, the things that are in the collective energy. Sometimes they'll come out as things that are happening in the day-to-day, or try and give some examples. But other than that, this is all very spiritually based. Oops, look at that. Wow. Okay, I think these were for me, so I'm going to keep going. Now, Spirit to the vessel. Beautiful vessel. And then we have Apocalypsis and the forest. At the bottom of the deck we have the animal. I'm going to make sure you all can see these. Okay, here we go. Okay. So the first thing I saw when I saw this vessel card was, what I saw in my head and what I was feeling in my body were two different things. And I think that's also important for this message. I think we're starting to understand if you take a minute and think, okay, who am I? And kind of back off from that question and say, who is the person? Well, who wants to know who am I, right? And if you get into your body, you kind of have to wonder, okay, what part of me is asking that question? Is it my brain? Is it my heart? Is it my left thumb? Is it my knee? Is it my right little piggy toe? You know, who is asking the question, who am I? Because there is this moving toward an understanding that who is asking the question is not a part of the body. It's not one part of the body. It's thinking about the vessel as a whole. Who contains the soul? Every part of us contains the soul. Every part of us contains the soul. I think in one of my last readings I talked about never being out of alignment. And if you think about it, if you go back and watch that video and understand, it's not just the place where you're standing that is the perspective of your life at that moment. It is, okay, maybe your hand is out on one side, your hands are out on either side, and they're in alignment with a whole different level. So you are working on so many different levels as a human, as a being here, not just here on this planet, but existing, right? And so there's this the vessel, the container. It is all of you. All parts of you is the who. All parts of you is the who that is asking, who am I? And perhaps the asking of this question brings a certain level of destruction. Finally, it's like finally letting go of the thought of who you are and embracing the all of who you are. So instead of you being the person that being the person that says, I want to make my brain happy, or I want to make my heart happy, or I want to find understanding or belonging, it's this understanding that is a limited belief. You are a community unto yourself. You are belonging unto yourself. And in belonging unto yourself, you are, without a doubt, belonging in this universe, in this space at this time. I know that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I will get the book and read these definitions. But let's continue. The forest. I think once we allow this level of destruction to happen internally, this breakdown, this final wall of deciding, okay, am I going to be, am I going to be the soul that thinks from the brain? Am I the soul from the brain, or am I the soul from the heart? It really is allowing the destruction of that soul being from one particular part of the body. There's a destruction of that belief. And then you finally embrace the wholeness of who you are, where you are, and accept that you are a community and you are belonging entirely into yourself. So the same way that you thought, oh, and there's no difference here, but there's just a different way of approaching it, right? So the same way that you think about, say you're walking along and there's like a piece of trash or something, and you pick it up and you say, I'm going to throw this away. I'm going to do something with this. The same way that you take care of others around you, of the world around you, because you understand that you are a part of it and it is a part of you, is the same way that you take care of your own body, the same way that you understand your body, right? So even if you consider that every part of your body has its own philosophy, its own understanding of the soul, its own understanding of who you are in this space, and even down to the very the cellular level, the DNA level. And it's so interesting because when you do that, and I know I'm going into some different spaces here for tarot and oracle reading, but it is spiritually based. So there is just this understanding that when you get to that level, that depth of understanding of all parts of you belong, even down to your very genetics, DNA, into that, like every part of that, of course, is life, right? I mean, the science doesn't lie if you're still here and breathing and listening to this and watching this, right? The science doesn't lie, right? But here, there is a spiritual connection to the science part. There is this there is an understanding that once you get into the DNA, into the very structure of yourself, and understanding that all parts of yourself are you, you can then go in and heal yourself. And that's this apocalypse is. It's not so much a complete obliteration as it is a complete obliteration of a wall between you and your healing, between you and your full nature, which is where we get the forest. And the forest is just, it's almost like a new frontier, a new planet, a new, if you think about it if you think about it on a mythic level, a very fantastic level, right? A level of fantasy. Even if you let your fantasy inform your DNA, your very genetics, your very cells, and let it exist, there's this idea that the forest is this uncharted territory, a place that is lush and rich and full of potential and discovery and adventure. There's just this whole new landscape for you, right? So, and at the bottom of the deck here is the animal, which I just feel like is moving back into, we're moving back into this space of, it's not just the animal I see, it's the anima and the animus, which is a combination of the masculine and the feminine. It might not be that exactly, but that's kind of what I'm getting, on top of moving into this space where we are now considering it is, our world is not based just on logic. Our world is based on the feel in our bodies. It's not just keeping our bodies active and going in order to support a capitalist system that is man-created, because the man-created system doesn't respect the laws of, it doesn't respect the laws of nature. It's operating outside of that. And so a lot of times we're just keeping ourselves going in order to be productive, in order to be in order to make money and make do, right? But at a certain level, we're getting back into this very instinctual, but very mythic, and it's like the intuition and the instinct. It's not primal so much as it is just a very new beginning into a very new type of being. And I can't say what those things are, and I don't want to intimate that those things are, something separate. But on a spiritual level, on a psychic level, the level of the psyche is what I mean to say. There's a new approach. There's a different approach, and it includes the body. It includes the body. So I'm going to read really quickly, just a little bit of an overview. I'm not going to go too deep in it like I usually do, because I want to get into the tarot of all of this. Let's see, LXIX is the vessel. The body, the container, the cup. The vessel may be the most powerful archetypal form on earth. It is everywhere. Cups hold liquid, stoves hold fire, our bodies hold organs, our homes hold families. Through the simple act of separation, the vessel protects what it contains. Nests protect the eggs. Savings account protect our earnings. Even the planets are contained within their circular orbit. When this card appears, it's time to assess what is being held together and how. Is the vessel too tight, too loose, broken, empty, full? Or perhaps there is no vessel at all, and the contents spill in every direction. It is natural for structures to be formed and eventually fall apart. The vessel has a life cycle that must be honored. Is it time for you to build, break, or repair? You must find out. Yeah, I love that. So let's look at Apocalypsix. No. LXXIB. Okay. All right, Apocalypsis. Removing the veil of deception. Look at that. Deception. Removing the veil of deception. We're something inside of us. So if you boil it down from what I was saying earlier, we are removing the veil of deception from the container. And I really do feel that is our thought process. Whatever is disconnecting us, whatever has us just sitting up in our heads versus being in both our heads and within our bodies and every part of our body, right? That is being cut. That wall, that understanding, that void, it's being cut, and we're moving out of our heads. So we're moving like being 100% in our heads to moving down into the body and being in the body. Okay. Apocalypsis indicates a particularly painful time, one that unfolds when two disparate dynamics occur simultaneously, pulling the psyche in seemingly opposing directions. The first is the lifting of the veil. We are in a season of the veil being lifted, actually. This means truths have been kept in the dark, are revealed, seen, and unearthed. No matter how relieving it is to witness them come into the light, an element of despair and grief follows. The second dynamic is the regeneration that comes from the wreckage of the revealed truth. Here it is in the forest. The old narrative speaks and a new story forms. Apocalypsis energy is similar to a forest fires, devastation for the sake of regeneration. The veil lifts, and we see who and what has been hiding. From the nakedness of the truth, a child is born. Have faith in the process. Hold on to your center. That is the only way. Awesome. I'm laughing for reasons. Let's see. Now let's take a look at the forest. the forest. Beautiful. The woods, the thicket, the jungle. Consider for a moment your earliest memory of the forest. It's likely it included all of the mythic dynamics of this archetypal space. A little fear, a little enchantment, perhaps losing your way, perhaps discovering a secret mystical treasure. Such is the magic of the forest. It requires first that you enter it, and then that you get lost within it. You may think there is a path to lead you straight through, but soon enough, you'll be on what is known as the pathless path. There are tricksters here, dense foliage and entanglement, but equally present are the glimmers of fairy light and friends among the trees. You're on an adventure now, and there's no turning back. So embrace the dim light and the moving shadows, whether literal or imaginal. Brave the forest and get lost, getting found. How beautiful is that? That we're moving out of this understanding of our body. And look, even in the card, there's no head here in the card. There's no head here. It's all body. And it's all sitting in this bowl. And anything that is even close to what was in the head or near the head is this star. And so again, there's just this understanding that we are moving out of our heads. We are busting down the veil that separates us. The veil, we're busting down the blockages that separate us from being in our bodies and not so much being in our heads. And we're going on this new adventure. So I want to read the animal really quickly, and then we'll get into the reading. So the overall of this reading is going to be found in this animal card. The beast, the wild one, the she-wolf. We are mammals. The hair on our chest and between our legs reminds us so. We try hard to deny our unrefined animalistic nature, yet through this archetype we tap into power and direction. Activating the animal within means reawakening our relationship to nature in the most broad and embodied sense. Drinking from waterfalls, roaring at the moon, opening eyes underwater, eating berries from the vine. The life force of our planet begs us to set down the devices, the constraints, and the social constructs, and remember the warm blood that pulses through our veins. The animal longs for breath, food, procreation, and physicality. It wants soil under our nails and starlight on our skin. If all this sounds terribly unsophisticated to you, take note that it is said that when Buddha became enlightened, he roared like a great lion. Y'all, Spirit is sending a message that we are moving into our bodies. We're moving into this state of wildness. And it's not a primal state, it's a discovery. This is all a discovery. This is all a discovery of the body. Discovery of the body. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into this. Oops. I'm going to use you know what? I want to use the Hermetic Tarot. I think I want to use that one. All right, where are we on time? Oof, already at 24 minutes. Okay, I did not mean to take that long, but if you want to stick around for the tarot, feel free. Because the tarot, I think, is going to tell us a little bit more about what might be coming up in our bodies, what might be coming up in our physicality, or maybe even what's coming up in our psyche to bring us there, right? Okay, Spirit, thank you. Wow. Six of Cups in reverse. For Apocalypsis, we have the Devil and the Four of Swords in reverse. What do we have for the Forest, please? Six of Wands in reverse. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Moon. So it's very interesting. We're coming into eclipse season. And from what I know so far, and again, take this part with a grain of salt, what I'm saying right now, because I'm actually still learning astrology. We're coming into eclipse season. And that eclipse season is going to be very life-changing for anyone. Well, okay, if you have your top three, ascendant, rising, ascendant, sun, and moon sign. I think it's moon sign. Yeah. If you have, I think, the top three in Scorpio, Taurus, I think Aquarius and Leo, maybe Capricorn, this eclipse season is going to be really big. And I will say, I kicked off my eclipse season last year by just, y'all don't even want to know. So I will say this. Sometimes Spirit opens a door for you. And when Spirit opens a door for you, and I'm looking back right now, and this might even have something to do with the message. When Spirit is opening a door for you, and the door it's an escape, it's kind of like an opportunity to get the fuck out of something that you shouldn't have been in. Excuse my language. And so usually, a lot of times we don't see that Spirit has opened this door for us. We don't see that, this back door, right? This exit, right, has appeared. But when we do see it and we get the message and we're in touch with our higher selves, which is why we do the practice of meditating, of being in touch with our higher selves, not just praying, to the deity in the sky, God, whoever you believe in, but also keeping in touch with the spiritual part of you that understands the subtle energies, that understands things that are happening on a spiritual level, which is why we get into our bodies, right? That's why we get into our bodies. We don't move into our heads to meditate. We relax our bodies. We focus on our breath. We drop down into, we kind of ground ourselves and feel the connection with the earth, feel our back being supported. We're in the mode of being in our body so as to get the messages from the body and from our intuition. Now, I will say, everyone is different, but in this particular case, this is a level of being in the body that kind of switches off the concentration or the thought that we need to be in our heads, right? That we need to always be up there and thinking and thinking and thinking. So, let's move into this reading. So we've got the Six of Cups in reverse here, the vessel. And the Six of Cups in reverse, I think, is just letting go of the idea that pleasure exists in our minds, or that even, and again, it's the idea that emotional pleasure exists in our head. It exists in our thoughts, and exists in what we take in visually or what we hear. This is us basically separating from from how we've been evolved as beings, as humans, right? This is turning over those cups. This is removing ourselves from past ways of connecting to pleasure in our heads, and we're moving into what is pleasure in our bodies. What is pleasure in our bodies? And that goes back to this animal card, where we understand that we exist to eat and breathe and run and feel the dirt under our nails and procreate maybe even not procreate, but just recreate, right? But it is that primal understanding of our bodies, and we're not rejecting ourselves because of those things, because of those wants, because of those desires. We're not rejecting ourselves, right? It is part of our spirituality. It's part of our being. I say spirituality, sorry. It is part of my spirituality. But it's recognizing how important it is to our being to have those things, to do those things, to, again, feel the dirt under our feet, to be moving, to be eating, to be just being on the adventure of being, right? Now, this apocalypsis, I have been having such an interesting time with the idea of the devil. And I say that as someone who grew up in, I went to a Catholic school, and I was a Baptist, and then I was, of course, Baptist, and I studied religions a lot, and I had parents that were evangelical, studied a lot of like ministry and things like that, and great examples of Christians, right? Great examples of Christians, not just talking about it, but being about it. And so for me, the understanding of the devil in tarot is the understanding that this is going into the depths, not even going into the depths, but allowing the gates of hell. And I say this, I say not the gates of hell to open, but the thing that we call hell, right? I feel as if the thing that we call hell is disconnecting ourselves, whatever it is that disconnects us from how we survive day to day in the systems that need us to work within it in order to survive, right? The man-made systems. And so sometimes the devil is the thought of disconnecting from those systems, right? And in this particular reading, this is disconnecting from the mind and moving into the body. There's a fear there. There's a fear of letting go. There's a fear of getting into that primal state. There's a fear of that. And it's the fear of what if I'm called uncivilized, right? It's that kind of a fear of what if I don't belong when you already belong where you are within yourself. I'm not saying that you don't need external validation. I am saying that the source of that validation comes from you. You are the only one who can validate you. It's great to have people in a tribe that surrounds you and connects with you and supports you, but when you do it for yourself is the beginning of modeling that for the tribe, right? And modeling what you need in your body. The Four of Swords is in reverse here, and they came out together. So I feel as if this is a release from constraints. Even though this is the Devil card, it's a release from constraints that are illusions. It's matter. It's releasing from matter. And there's something here about the brain and matter. And I can't really connect it because I don't I'm pretty sure there's some sort of a Plato quote or something with Socrates, because I know that I've studied both of those philosophers, but there is a release here. There's a release here from the constraints. And the Four of Swords up right here in the Hermetic Tarot is the Lord of Rest from strife. But it's almost as if this Apocalypsis card is saying, release yourself, and even release yourself from this is so weird. Y'all, my God. Okay, so I never thought I'd be the one to say this on this channel, and it sounds so trite. It sounds so new age trite. But it is. It is releasing yourself from the chokehold that, God, I hate this. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but it's the truth. It's releasing yourself from the matrix that you're connected to. And if you just think, if you think about the movie The Matrix and how Neo was very much initially Mr. Anderson. Was he Mr. Anderson? I think he was Mr. Anderson in The Matrix. But when Morpheus and the whole team and Trinity and like all of them came to free him, he was lying in water. His brain was cortex or whatever was connected to a machine, and he was just in stasis, and he was the system was relying on him, and he was supplying the system. Yeah, I know. It sounds so trite, but this is where we are, okay? This is just where we are. Now the Six of Wands in reverse. The Forest, the Lord of Victory. Six of Wands in reverse. I just feel like this really is like, this really is an adventure. I mean, the Six of Wands in reverse, upright, it would be victory and celebration and things like that. But really, do you think when, if you watch the movie, do you think that when Neo woke up, did he wake up to like, oh, lavish food and, clean air to breathe and, beautiful clothes to wear? No, he didn't. But he woke up to something much different. It was the forest. It was brand new. It was certainly, basically, you're not being celebrated for being the animal. You just are the animal. And so you're cutting away from these accolades that you're used to, this validation. It's actually really interesting because even though you're surrounded by people you love, the things that kind of make you go from point A to point B to point C, right? The things that kind of move you along and progress you along fall away. So there are no rewards, there are no recognitions, there are no medals. There is only survival, and there is only accessing every part of you to the highest and nth degree to be the full of who you are, which is essentially what the Matrix was all about, right? God, I'm so sorry for this very, very trite reading, but this is it. I mean, this is it. That's it. That's the very basics of it, and this is a reminder that these are the basics. This is what we're going back to. This is what we're moving to, and then we have the moon. And I mentioned, now look at this, we've got the animal and the moon. Now the first thing you think of when you see animal, what do you think? Definitely she-wolf, which is what the guide said. What do wolves do? They howl at the moon. I mean, this is as simple as going back to being that primal being that howls at the moon. And that might be the very thing that happens once this eclipse season comes up. We might find ourselves in primal modes. We might find ourselves disconnecting from what civility is, what keeps everything in line, and keeps us quote unquote safe, right? This is getting back to the energy where we just howl at the moon. That's pretty much it. No systems, no rule and order, which again, look at that. Flux and reflux, the moon. And the moon has all its cycles, right? It goes full, it wanes, it waxes, it's new again, and then it waxes and wanes back to full. I might have that backwards, but the moon card too is also about, it's also about chaos. It's about confusion. It is about renewal, but it's about all the different, it really is about, I mean, again, if you think about the moon and its phases, it can be full one day, it can be black the next, right? Well, not the next day, but it has so many cycles, and yet it still exists as one thing. And so we go through these cycles as well. We go through these cycles of dropping out of the mind and into the body. And it's the same thing that we're doing within this year as we move into eclipse season. Okay, I've gone on a bit. I'm at 41 minutes. I think I'm still recording, yes. Okay. All right, so let's get some guidance here. This is a very new deck for me, and I'm just curious about it because I want to see what it says. I've got it's called the Earth Warriors Oracle, and I think it is pretty fitting to what we're experiencing here in this reading. And again, if you're looking for if you're just looking for some spiritual reading, spiritual guidance, that kind of thing, this is the channel. I really need to do some more like quick love readings and quick spiritual readings because those are fun. But I've just really been in Pluto energy and things like that. Look, we have Panthera, the precious and the rare. Look at that. And it looks like a feminine and a panther, a butterfly, and some sort of design here with a mountain. And if that doesn't sum up the movement from being in the head to moving into the body to really encompassing the animal, I don't know what else could be. So let's go ahead and read that. Panthera, number 30, the precious and the rare. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so I'll read that. Hopefully it won't take too long, but let's see. Okay. Panthera, the precious and the rare. Our faith and optimism are not meant to make us complacent, but to encourage us to believe that our action in the world will have a positive and real effect. There are situations where your voice, your courage, and your fearless determination are needed. You will make a difference. Cast helplessness or despair aside and realize the fighter within, because that is that animal. Fight for that which needs defending with all of your heart. Do so with compassion, kindness, and mercy, but do not yield. Spiritual guidance. Do not give up on yourself or spirit. When in the face of possible loss, something deep in our soul recoils in horror. It is a sign that something is not right. It is not a sign that we are too attached or not trusting enough in the divine to figure everything out. Oops, dang. Sorry. Where are you? Panthera. Okay. It is not a sign that we are too attached or not trusting enough in the divine to figure everything out. It is a sign that we must pay attention, ask for guidance, and then with kindness, courage, and strength, we take appropriate action to safeguard what would otherwise perish. We are not here to be passive consumers, right, of whatever the mainstream consciousness tries to enact in the world, nor ideologies taught by counterculture. We are here to learn with the compassion of our hearts. We are here to become complete human beings, and through that, to be, live, and inspire loving evolution for the greater good. We are here to be the revolutionary embodiment of loving consciousness, to be the fearless, determined enactors of wisdom. We are here to offer and inspire, to rebel and refuse, to speak with wisdom, to create through how we choose to be within ourselves, and to honor the light in such a way that we protect and preserve what has real value in this world. The body, the earth, and her creatures are not illusions. Saying that they are not real is not spiritual wisdom. That is an unholy deception perpetuated to undermine sacred activists from derailing the devastating behaviors that place profit above all else. The Matsis of the Brazilian and Peruvian Amazon are known as the Jaguar people. Exposure to outside influences and grabs for their land have changed their economy. Wow. Have changed their economy, introduced disease, and challenged the continuing existence of their culture. Their innate spiritual right to live as they choose has been violated by short-sighted exploitation of lands for financial gain. We have the power to evoke the protective and corrective divine presence through the wise use of our own free will. When we act consciously, whilst praying for courage, inspiration, assistance, and protection, the action truly creates benefit, and we don't turn against each other, undermining the love and respect that we are yearning to increase on our planet. Such sacred activism builds self-esteem and boosts our belief in what is possible for wise and courageous people to create together. We become unwilling to be hoodwinked or made to feel impotent in the face of unjust destruction. Instead, we rally and we rise. We gain energy and we become fierce with divine healing energy and wise with compassion. As those who are aware enough to recognize it, treasuring what is sacred, original, and worth preserving in human culture is a part of our task. One Matse's wisdom teaching is that the best way to contribute is to do what one does best. There will be many who want to stop you. Yet, Black Jaguar, a rare variant of the panther species of South America, brings the medicine of fearlessness and a willingness to act, the ability to discover hidden knowledge and unravel secrets. The Matsis and the Black Jaguar are rare and endangered, unique treasures upon this earth. Oh gosh, I just got a message there. I just got a message there of we need to put ourselves in the place of the most endangered animals. And this is why we are making this drop into our bodies, because we have to reconnect with those beings on earth. We cannot just live in our heads thinking that the capitalist system is the system that rules over nature. We don't. We are a part of this earth, right? Okay, I'm going to keep reading. The Matsis and the Black Jaguar are rare and endangered, unique treasures upon this earth. Their presence in our consciousness reflects a conversation taking place between our soul and the Divine Mother. She knows how to heal any ills within her realm. All we need to do is follow the urgings of our heart with confidence, and all that we need to know will be imparted so that her beautiful will can be brought to bear. The healing process. Visualize, imagine, or feel that a black jaguar is emerging from the night sky. Moonlight shines, look at that, moonlight shines on black fur. Fearless eyes shine like sunlit amber. The movement is measured, steady, and without hesitation. You sense the absolute certainty and confidence emanating from this sacred creature. Whatever has been holding you back, whether you can clearly articulate it or not, look at that, is severed from your field by one deft swipe from Black Jaguar. Feel the release with peace in your heart. Say aloud, the spirit of Black Jaguar reveals my courage, conviction, purpose, and passion. I am freed from constraint. I am made ready in this moment and for all moments to come by the grace of the divine feminine. I am willing to participate fully in my life, to take action upon the divine urgings of my heart for the greatest good. I will not be shamed and silenced. I will take action every day in whatever ways I can, with fierce compassion in my heart and sacred rebellious fire in my belly. May divine purpose manifest through our willingness, talent, and our faith in ourselves, each other, and the divine. May your loving kindness and creative wisdom render my actions of spiritual benefit to all beings. So be it. You have completed your healing process. Wow. That was really, really, wow. Okay, I hope you all enjoyed this reading. I know this was a long one. I was not expecting that. I think I might do another one in a day or two. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me again, and I look forward to seeing you soon.